What is prosperity, and how can it be achieved? The most common measure of national prosperity is GDP, but there is a growing consensus that GDP is too narrow to measure a country's overall success. The 2014 Prosperity Index ranks 142 countries on these 8 categories. The Prosperity Index shows over the last 6 years, the world has become more, not less, prosperous. Regionally, Sub-Saharan Africa has increased the most, and North America and North Africa the least. The US has risen to 10th this year because of improvements in its economy, but personal freedom has continued to fall. The UK places 13th overall and has confirmed its place as a global leader for entrepreneurship. Russia has performed the worst of any country in Europe. China ranks 54th overall, scoring well for their economy but poorly in personal freedom and governance. The 2014 Prosperity Index reveals core principles of national prosperity. Find out more and interact with all of the data at prosperity.com.
Prosperity, it's when people are happy and everything goes well.
Prosperity to me is cultural and economic performance that gives the greatest possible advantage to the greatest number of people.
Well, I think prosperity to me is an economic concept, but it's not just about disposable income or your living standard as mentioned by your salary. Prosperity can include public goods like the health service, like clean air, like parks. Those are all parts of prosperity, but prosperity is related to the economy and does depend upon the strength of the economy. Prosperity is not the same thing as happiness, of course, which is entirely different. But most of the things that add to the quality of our life that are tangible are very much dependent on the economy.
Well, I've always wanted to own my own business and be in charge of my own life, because all through my life I've been freelance, I've been working under other people, and I wanted kind of to take control of that a bit more. So about 2 years ago, me and my business partner both just got to the point where we were totally ready to do something on our own, and we thought, let's start our own business, let's take that in control of our own lives. And we started off by selling chutneys on Camberwell Green Farmers Market, which went really well, and because it was so popular we decided that we should do a Kickstarter, because we didn't have any money ourselves to kind of fund the business. And we were totally blown away with how much support we got from the public, not only our friends and family, but also people we'd never met before, people in countries who would never even be able to come and visit the cafe were giving us money. And it was absolutely the most incredible feeling in the world. And we raised £21,000 in 30 days, which was more than we asked for. And then a year on, we now have a cafe, fully functioning cafe, and we're really proud of it. There's still lots of work to do, but it was because of people's support and people believing in us that we were able to do it, which is exactly what I think prosperity is having people believe in an idea and help people achieve goals like ours.
If you asked me what I thought prosperity meant, I'd have to say that my understanding of prosperity has changed over time. And when I was younger, I would have imagined it pretty much in terms of economic flourishing. But as I've got older, I now would imagine prosperity to mean much more. To me, it is also about our health, our families, our relationships. And I say this because I have had a long battle with ill health, with mental ill health. And when you're suffering in this way, you completely rethink what you imagine prosperity to mean. And now I would think of it in terms of simple pleasures. What Oscar Wilde said, that simple pleasures were the last resort of the complicated man. And for me, the great joys of prosperity would be sitting round the kitchen table with my family, with my friends, with me in good health, and with all my children in good health too.
I think real prosperity, you can't see it, you can't reach out and touch it, but you will know it when you see it. And it springs from a deep sense of contentment in life. Not contentment that restrains any ambition that you might have, because ambition is right at the heart of what we are and what we do. But it's a sense of contentment that comes from helping others. From knowing that life is not just about you, it's about other people in the community around you. And that means volunteering. So volunteering should be right at the heart of prosperity. And I would like to see a prosperous society where everybody wakes up every Sunday morning and says, what did I do to help the community last week, and what am I going to do to help the community next week? That is real prosperity, not just for you as an individual, but for those who are close to you and everyone in the world, the city, the town, the street around you.
Prosperity is an interesting word, because it's, when I think of prosperity, I don't think of GDP figures, I don't think of money at all. I think of how do you live a prosperous life, which to me means being paid to do something I love, spending time with friends and family, curiously not having the demands of an office schedule, and simply having the space to enjoy the day. I know that sounds incredibly sort of full of mindfulness and guff, but that's basically it. I mean, being able to enjoy friends and family, being able to have time for your leisure pursuits, but above all, being paid to do the only thing I can do, which is to write and to speak. So there we are. I mean, to me, that's prosperity. It's not about money.
Prosperity, obviously, traditionally, is to do with money. And of course, there is a big element of money in prosperity. But it's also to do, and surely dominantly to do, with happiness. And happiness, I think, probably for me, in a rather sort of literal art-dealing sense, takes two forms. The first is to live with beautiful objects. For me, great art takes you to a more spiritual zone or realm. But you can't have protein without your greens. And the other thing that I adore is nature. So for me, prosperity, being happiness, can be defined as the fusion of wonderful looking objects by great artists and nature at its most spontaneously beautiful.
Well, real prosperity is not having to worry about it and having an accountant to worry about it on your behalf. But that, realistically, is only for people with £2 million mansion tax houses. And anyway, I don't think actually prosperity is about assets. It's realistically always about income and not having to worry in those last few days before your monthly paycheck arrives whether you have enough money in the bank. It's as simple as that. It's a bank balance that doesn't go overdrawn and a fridge full of food.
Well, I think prosperity is about the good life. It's about, and a prosperous society is a society that gives people an opportunity to live a good life. But then, of course, the question is, what's a good life? And a good life is not just about having money in your pocket. It's not just about consuming as many things as possible. To understand the good life, I think you have to go back to Aristotle, and you have to understand that human beings have basically two natures. There's our animal nature, and there's our rational, ethical, aesthetic nature. So if you think about the animal nature, I mean, obviously things do matter like health, security, homes, food. These are the basics. But then we are human beings, and it matters also how we give meaning to our lives. And that's where things like beauty, the life of the intellect, come in. And so you need to have a rounded view. And so that's what I think the good life is about, and I think that's what prosperity is about.
I think prosperity
is an inner joy that comes of having been able to share your resources with other human beings and share it in a genuine way, genuine philanthropy, whether that's material or emotional. It builds the fabric of prosperity in your heart and you get recharged. So it's like a battery. The more you genuinely give out, the more energy you accumulate.
When I was a little boy, my mum used to take me to visit old and dying people in nursing homes. And as a result of that, I developed, I think, a fear of poverty in old age. And so I've ended up working hard and trying to create some prosperity for myself, because I worry that if I don't have it, then I might end up like the people my mum brought me to visit. And after all of that and all that work, I now think that prosperity is not about that at all. I now think prosperity is time. That people who are in charge of their time, who have free time, and who have the space to do what they want to do with their time, they are the prosperous people. And the really poor people in our society are the people who are chasing and racing.